I parked my February 2010 Toyota Camry between my cousin Marcus's Ferrari and my sister Victoria's Mercedes, already knowing what was coming. The annual Thompson family dinner was more of a wealth competition than a family gathering, and I'd been cast as the perpetual loser. Straightening my simple black dress, bought off the rack at Nordstrom, not custom-made like Victoria's, I grabbed the bottle of wine I'd brought. It was a $2,000 Chateau Lafite Rothschild, not that anyone would notice. They'd already decided everything about me based on my car. Julia. My mother's voice carried across the driveway of her sprawling mansion. You're late. And, oh, you're still driving that car. I forced a smile. Hello, Mother. Inside, the usual suspects were already assembled. Victoria showing off her latest diamond bracelet to our cousin Emma. Marcus loudly discussing his hedge fund's recent success. Aunt Patricia, critiquing everyone's life choices while sipping expensive champagne. Jules. Marcus called out using the nickname I hated. Still slumming it in that startup job. If he only knew that my startup job was actually my own company, Thompson Tech Solutions, currently valued at $4.2 billion, but they didn't need to know that. Not yet. The car's still running okay. Victoria added with fake concern. I know a great dealer if you're finally ready to upgrade, though you might need to check your credit score first. I set my wine bottle on the kitchen counter, watching as my mother immediately replaced it with something from her own collection. My $2,000 bottle would probably end up in her cooking. Julie is just practical, my mother said diplomatically. Not everyone needs luxury items to be happy. The way she said practical made it sound like a terminal illness. I checked my phone, confirming what I already knew. My company's stock had jumped another 15% today after our latest acquisition. The transaction that would shock my entire family was nearly complete. Did you hear about Victoria's promotion? My father jumped in. Junior VP at Morgan Stanley. And Marcus just closed a $50 million deal for his fund. That's wonderful, I said, taking a seat at the massive dining table. Congratulations. Emma leaned forward, her designer dress probably worth more than what they thought I made in a month. Julia dear, I know a great financial advisor. You really should start thinking about your future. My future? I suppressed a smile, thinking about the meeting I'd had this morning with my board of directors. We just acquired our biggest competitor for $3.1 billion, a deal I'd orchestrated while my family thought I was struggling at some entry-level tech job. Thanks, Emma. I'll think about it. The dinner proceeded as usual. Victoria detailed her recent trip to the Maldives. Marcus bragged about his new vacation home in Aspen. My mother directly directed the conversation to highlight everyone's successes while glossing over my apparent lack thereof. Julie is doing her best, she'd say whenever anyone asked about me. She's always been different. Different. Because I'd chosen to build something from scratch instead of following their prescribed path of investment banking or law. Because I'd lived modestly while secretly growing my company into a tech giant. Because I'd never felt the need to prove my worth through designer labels and luxury cars. At least tell me you're dating someone successful, Aunt Patricia prodded. You're not getting any younger, dear. I thought about Daniel, the brilliant engineer I'd been seeing for 6 months. They'd probably be shocked to learn he was worth over $200 million from his own tech ventures. But like me, he preferred keeping a low profile. Just focusing on work right now, I replied. Victoria rolled her eyes. Of course you are. Though what kind of work can you really be doing at? What's the company called again? Thompson Tech Solutions, I said quietly. Never heard of it, Marcus declared. Must be one of those little startup things that'll be gone in a year. If he'd bothered to read any financial news, he'd know that Thompson Tech Solutions was revolutionizing artificial intelligence and cloud computing. We'd been featured in Forbes 3 times this year alone. Speaking of work. Victoria raised her voice slightly. Guess who just got approved for the Morgan Stanley Executive Car Program? I'm thinking either a Bentley or a Rolls. Definitely the Bentley, Emma chimed in. Julia, what made you choose that Toyota? Was it the high safety rating? They laughed and I let them think I chose my car out of necessity rather than preference. Let them assume I couldn't afford better rather than choosing to invest my money in building an empire. The Camry's reliable, I said simply. Oh, honey, my mother sighed. You know your father and I could help you with a down payment on something more appropriate for a Thompson. I took a sip of wine thinking about the 3 houses I owned free and clear, including a beachfront property in Malibu that cost more than their entire car collection. I'm fine, mother. Are you though? Victoria pressed. I mean, look at your clothes, your car, your whole situation. Don't you want more from life? I thought about my company's current market cap, the thousands of employees who depended on me, the technological innovations we were developing that would change the world. I'm content with my choices. Marcus snorted into his wine glass. Content with mediocrity. Typical Jules. That's when my phone buzzed. The caller ID showed my assistant's name, Angela. She knew not to interrupt family dinner unless it was urgent. Excuse me, I said, standing up. I need to take this. Really, Julia? My mother frowned. It's rude to take calls at dinner. I stepped away from the table anyway, feeling their judgmental stares. Angela. What's wrong? Miss Thompson, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's an issue with the jet. The maintenance team in Dubai needs your approval for some upgrades before your flight to Singapore next week. I could feel Victoria trying to eavesdrop. The jet? She whispered to Emma. Must be her company's courier service or something. If they only knew the courier service was my personal Gulfstream G650. Tell them to proceed with the upgrades, I said, clearly watching their expressions shift from dismissive to confused. And make sure the pilot files the flight plan for Singapore with a stopover in Tokyo. I have that meeting with our Japanese investors. The table had gone silent. Even Marcus had stopped mid-brag. Also, Angela continued, Mr. Chin from the board wanted to confirm your availability for tomorrow's press conference about the acquisition. Yes, I'll be there. Make sure the PR team has the statement ready about our $3.1 billion purchase of Max Tech Industries. I heard a wine glass shatter. Victoria's perfectly manicured hand had slipped, sending her burgundy spreading across her designer dress. Is that all, Angela? Just one more thing. Forbes wants to update your net worth for their 40 under 40 list. Should I give them the current figure or wait until after the acquisition goes public? I turned back to the table, meeting their shocked stares. Let's wait. The stock jump from today's news should be interesting. I hung up, tucking my phone away as I returned to my seat. The silence was deafening. My mother's fork hung halfway to her mouth. Marcus's face had lost its smug smile. Emma was frantically Googling on her phone, probably searching for Thompson Tech Solutions. Julia, my father finally managed. What was that about a jet? I took another sip of wine, savoring the moment I'd been waiting for all these years. Oh, didn't I mention? I need to cut dinner short. I have a flight to catch. The silence that followed felt like it could shatter glass. Victoria was the first to recover her wine-stained dress. Forgotten. You're lying, she accused, her voice shrill. This is some kind of joke. I pulled out my phone again, opening the Bloomberg app. Thompson Tech Solutions current market cap $4.2 billion. Sue, Julia Thompson. I slid the phone across the table. Feel free to fact check. Marcus grabbed the phone, his hands actually shaking. This can't be right. You're nothing. You drive a Camry. Because I choose to, I replied calmly. Unlike some people, I don't need expensive cars to prove my worth. Emma was still frantically Googling. Oh my God, she whispered. She's telling the truth. Julia's on Forbes 30 under 30. She's been on CNBC. There are articles about her everywhere. My mother's face had gone pale. But why didn't you tell us all these years? Would it have mattered? I asked, thinking of all the family dinners where they talked over me, dismissed my career, treated me like their collective failure. You never asked what I actually did. You were too busy bragging about Victoria's entry-level banking job or Marcus's small hedge fund. Small. Marcus sputtered. I manage $50 million. I couldn't help but laugh. That's cute. I signed off on $100 million in bonuses last quarter alone. My father cleared his throat, his business instincts finally kicking in. Princess, perhaps we should discuss some investment opportunities. Now that we know about your success. No. I cut him off firmly. I'm not your princess anymore. That stopped the day you told me I was embarrassing the family by starting my own company instead of joining Morgan Stanley with Victoria. Victoria flinched at the memory. She'd been there when our father had that conversation with me, smirking as he detailed all the ways I was disappointing the Thompson name. But that's what family does, my mother protested weakly. We help each other. Really? I raised an eyebrow. Like when you helped Victoria with the down payment on her Mercedes while telling me I needed to learn financial responsibility. Or when you funded Marcus's startup fund but called my business plan unrealistic. Aunt Patricia, never one to miss an opportunity, leaned forward. Darling, now that we know about your position, you simply must join the country club. I'll sponsor you myself. The same country club that rejected my application last year because my car wasn't appropriate. I smiled coldly. I bought it last month. The members just don't know yet. Another wine glass hit the table too hard. This time it was Marcus's. My phone buzzed again. Who is Daniel? Your pilot called me, his text read. Want me to bring the Aston Martin to pick you up instead of the usual cars? I texted back, no. Let's stick to the plan. The Camry's perfect for tonight. Julia. Victoria's voice had taken on a syrupy sweetness I recognized from childhood. The tone she used when she wanted something. I've actually been thinking about leaving Morgan Stanley. Maybe we could discuss some opportunities at your company. You mean the little startup thing that'll be gone in a year? I quoted Marcus's earlier words. I think we're fully staffed. Emma jumped in, ever the opportunist. You know I've always been interested in tech. Really? I interrupted. Name one coding language. She fell silent, deflated. My mother was still struggling to process everything. But your clothes, your car, your apartment are all choices, I finished for her. I could buy this house with one day's earnings. I could have any car I want. But unlike some people, I don't measure success by what I own. How much? My father asked bluntly. How much are you worth? I stood up, smoothing my off-the-rack dress. More than everyone at this table combined. Multiple times over. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Angela. Cars ready whenever you are, Miss Thompson. The board members in Singapore are eager to start the meeting. Thank you, Angela. I'm leaving now. I turned to my stunned family. This has been illuminating. But I have a company to run. Wait. Victoria called out desperately. You can't just drop this on us and leave. Why not? You've been dropping judgments on me for years. I picked up my purse, a simple leather tote that probably cost more than Victoria's flashy designer bags. Oh, and mother. That wine you relegated to the cooking shelf. It's worth more than Marcus's monthly fund returns. As I walked toward the door, my father found his voice again. Julia, be reasonable. We're family. We should discuss this arrangement. I turned back one last time. The time for discussion was years ago when I needed support. No. I don't need anything from any of you. But we're blood, my mother pleaded. Blood doesn't excuse behavior, I replied. You all made your choices about how to treat me. Now you get to live with them. Outside, my faithful Camry waited. Behind me I could hear the chaos erupting, Victoria's shrill demands, Marcus's protests, Emma's attempts to connect with me on LinkedIn from her phone. As I drove away, my mother ran out to the driveway. Julia, please. We can start over. I didn't stop. The next morning, my family's attempts to contact me started. First came the texts. Victoria. Hey, sis. Remember when I helped you with your college applications? Good times. Let's do lunch. Marcus, Jules. Got some amazing investment opportunities to discuss. Call me, Emma. LinkedIn says you're hiring. Coffee soon. Then the emails, Mother, darling, I've been thinking about all the wonderful memories we could make together now. Father, princess, let's discuss how to integrate your success into the family's legacy. I forwarded them all to my assistant with one instruction: add to the blocked list. At the press conference announcing the Maxtech acquisition, a reporter asked about my modest lifestyle despite my wealth. Success isn't about what you own, I told her. It's about what you build. The story made headlines. Tech secret billionaire. The CEO who drives a Camry. Victoria saw it and tried a new approach. I always knew you were special, sis. Remember how I used to let you borrow my clothes? I remembered. I also remembered how she told everyone I couldn't afford my own. Marcus attempted to pitch his fund to my board members, somehow getting their contact information. They sent his proposal straight to spam. My mother joined every charity board she could find, suddenly passionate about supporting young entrepreneurs. She made sure to mention her successful tech CEO daughter at every meeting. My father tried to leverage my success in his business circles, claiming he'd always supported Julia's vision. His colleagues who knew the truth just smiled politely. A month after the dinner, I received an invitation to the family's annual charity gala. The note read, "Special guest of honor, Julia Thompson, tech visionary." I sent back a simple response. Unable to attend. Prior commitment in Singapore. I was actually in town that weekend working from my penthouse office while they posed for photos and pretended they'd always believed in me. Victoria gave an interview to the local paper about how she'd inspired her sister's success. Marcus told anyone who would listen about our close relationship. The truth? They hadn't inspired anything except my determination to succeed despite them. Last week Victoria lost her job at Morgan Stanley. Budget cuts. She sent me her resume with a note. Family first, right? Marcus's fund lost its biggest investor. He tried to schedule a meeting with my investment team. Emma's husband's business went under. She started posting motivational quotes about successful family connections on LinkedIn. I ignored them all. Instead, I focused on what mattered. Running my company, developing new technologies, creating jobs. The Camry still sits in my parking spot between Maseratis and Bentleys. My employees love it. It's become a symbol of our company culture. Success without showmanship. Yesterday I overheard two of my junior developers talking. Is it true she's a billionaire who drives a Toyota? Yeah. And she wears normal clothes and lives in a regular apartment. But why? She could have anything. Because she doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. They get it. My family never will. This morning I received another dinner invitation from my mother. The note mentioned she'd finally learned to properly store fine wine. I sent back the same bottle she'd relegated to cooking. A 2000 Chateau Lafite Rothschild. The note read, "For your cooking shelf." I hear it adds excellent flavor to rejection letters. Sometimes success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And sometimes the best revenge isn't showing people what they missed. It's letting them see it from a distance they can never cross. As for me, I'm taking my Camry to a board meeting. We're discussing a $5 billion expansion. I think I'll send my family a press release about it. After all, that's how they prefer to hear about my life anyway. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel.